We regret to inform you. Your childhood has expired.
I'd like to make myself believe this planet.
This is no ordinary picture. Want to take a guess what's going on here? Hi, I'm Stephanie, and if you like folklore, paranormal, unsolved cases, and anything strange, you come to the right place. So this picture has circulated around the internet for several years, and apparently these two girls were taking a photo when all of a sudden they looked at their camera and realized that someone was grabbing one of the girls' arms. They mentioned that there was no one walking by them, so they weren't sure how this picture or how this person or this hand even showed up. What do you think?
We have some things to show you.
I'm excited to see it.
Holly, we left some cameras rolling on that first night we were investigating your house. When we left, you went to bed. We captured something while you were sleeping. And it really gave me chills, knowing that there was nobody in your house. Your alarm system was on. You were secured in your house. Explain this.
What in the
This mother and child took a picture together, but what they didn't realize was something was staring at them right behind them. Watch this. Let me know what you guys think this is.
Have you ever wondered why the Mad Hatter went mad? I'm sure we all know that the Mad Hatter is a character from the Disney movie Alice in Wonderland that came out in 1951. He's known for his insane personality and oversized green top hat. Alice encounters him at the Mad Tea Party in Wonderland. Now, what most people don't know is that the term Mad as a Hatter was actually a popular phrase back in the 1800s before Alice in Wonderland was even written. And it was literally referring to the men who used to make hats back in that time and lost their minds due to the chemicals they were using. So the Mad Hatter character is associated with the effects of mercury on behavior and psychology. So the men back in the day that were making these hats were using mercury, which causes a lot of bad side effects on your brain and the way that you act. So his character was literally based off real men who went insane. So I just find it strange to watch Alice in Wonderland knowing the horrible history of what Mad as a Hatter actually means.
Some of the employees at Lake Punderson Manor House say that they see a blue man streak by the front desk. And I caught this moving orb at 10 a.m. checkout.
At this point, I'm not even gonna apologize. You know what you signed up for. And if my eyes have to bear witness, I'm bringing everyone else down with me. Those are epinicium, but you probably heard them also be called fairy slippers. Those fairy slippers are a rubbery covering that goes over the hooves of a baby horse to protect its mother from the sharp edges while it's still inside her. It's like a pair of house slippers that the baby horse wears until it finally joins the outside. And if you've never seen this before, it's because as soon as the epinicium touches air, it starts to dry and fall off, especially once the foal starts walking. And sometimes the mother horse will pull the rubber boots off the baby with her teeth. And of course, none of it's painful for the foal, it's only painful to look at. After the first 24 hours, most of the horse feathers are already gone. It looks bad, but it's actually for a really good reason. Baby horses have to be able to stand and walk as soon as possible, since the smell of a horse being born can attract predators. But having fully formed hooves could put the mother in a pack if one of the sharp edges cuts her and causes internal bleeding. Moral of this video, this is what compromise looks like.
Nurses witness death quite a bit. This story was shared on a nurses forum online. The nurse worked at an oncology department at a hospital. She was given charge of a patient who was dying and had been unconscious for several days. During the night, the nurse went in the room and she found the patient standing on top of the bed. The patient looked at her and said, "Don't let them take me." The nurse was obviously frightened and asked, "Who's gonna take you?" The patient pointed at the air and said, "That black thing up there." The nurse couldn't see anything. A few minutes later that evening, the patient passed away. If you enjoy these scary stories, like and follow for more, and don't forget to see exclusive stories on my Patreon.
In 1883, Henry Zieglin broke off his engagement, to which his fiancée responded by taking her own life. The fiancée's brother was so enraged that he sought revenge and set out to kill Henry. He went out to Henry's farm and shot the man who had hurt his sister. Then he turned the gun on himself. Unbeknownst to the brother, Henry didn't die at all. The bullet only grazed him before landing in a tree. After this, Henry went on to live a full life. 20 years after he escaped death, he and his son were cutting firewood when they decided to take down the tree with the bullet in it. But the wood was so tough it was almost impossible to split it with an axe. So they bored some holes in the tree and put small amounts of dynamite inside. Henry and his son stood about 50 feet back away from the tree when they set the explosives off. The bullet, which had waited 20 years for Henry Ziegland, was blown out of the tree at such great force that it hit him in the left temple, killing him instantly.
Okay guys, watch this video of this guy running the water. It's gonna turn black in a couple seconds. I'm gonna tell you why that is very, very concerning. There it is. So if you're into true crime or horror, you might remember the Elisa Lam story. It's where this woman died in a hotel and they found her in a septic tank. They didn't find her body until a few days later, so all her juices and stuff were running all throughout the water system in the hotel. However, one person said the shower was awful. When you turned the tap on, the water was coming black first for 2 seconds, and then it was going back to normal. So that black water coming out of that faucet may just be a dead body in their septic tank. Obviously, there's a lot of other logical reasons for this, but that's just something to think about.
This is a very creepy 8-legged doll that came out in the early 19th century. This is a very rare doll that has such an innovative design for its time. The wheel of legs would allow the doll to walk when it was being pushed across the floor. Back when kids would actually receive this doll as a gift or from the store, it would be wearing this very long dress that would actually cover all of these legs, so the kids would never really see them unless they actually lifted up the dress. So to kids, it wasn't as scary when this doll was wearing clothing. But as you know, kids, they get curious, and many of them found out how many legs this doll actually had, and they were terrified.
My uncle is currently working at the Cecil Hotel, and this is what he sent me.
Did you know that there is a corpse in Chicago that hasn't decayed? This is the peculiar case of the Italian bride. Giulia Petta passed away while giving birth to her stillborn son. Several years after her death, Giulia's ghost began to relentlessly visit her mother in her sleep. Her mother became convinced that Giulia was still alive and had her body exhumed. What they found was disturbing, to say the least. Giulia's body was perfectly preserved, unlike that of her son's, who was normally decayed. There was no reason as to why her body should have been in the state that it was. Take a look. How weird is that? Her mother was so fascinated and disturbed by this that she snapped this photo and displayed it on Giulia's grave. What do you guys think?
Terrifying things that our own government have done. In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff from America actually put forth a plan to have Cuba look like they attacked the United States through a terrorism act. And it was actually the United States that did this. The United States attacked the United States to make it look like Cuba did it. This was called Operation Northwoods and would completely justify a full-scale attack on Cuba, even though this terrorism was completely fake and made up by the government. It was planned in and around Guantanamo to make it look like it was actually legit. In the unclassified documents that were top secret at the time, the government actually made plans to blow up a U.S. Navy ship in Guantanamo Bay to make it seem like it was a real attack. The unclassified document also read that they would have a shipload of Cubans, real or simulated, that they would sink seeking refuge. In 1962, the proposal ended up being rejected, thank God.
Here's some of the most cursed movies ever created. If there was ever a competition for cursed movies, The Omen would definitely be in the running. Made in 1976, this movie was plagued with bad luck since its filming. During filming, the scriptwriter, the executive producer, and the star Gregory Peck's planes were all struck by lightning. The executive producer's hotel was also bombed, as was the restaurant the director and the actors were scheduled to eat at, both of which were completely unrelated events. On Friday the 13th of August 1976, the special effects consultant John Richardson crashed his car, injuring himself and killing his assistant. On top of all that, one of the film's tiger handlers died, Gregory Peck's son killed himself, and a plane scheduled for use in the film crashed and killed everyone on board.
I got you. This is a Japanese urban legend called Yuki-onna. It's story time.
Take a seat. Throw up your wallet.
So a long time ago in Japan, there lived two woodcutters, a young one named Minakichi and an older man named Osaku. One day, the two men were working in the mountains when a very bad snowstorm hit. They looked at each other and decided that it was too harsh to continue. After gathering their tools, the two men made their way around the mountain looking for somewhere to stay. They eventually crossed paths with this hut, and they decided that they would sleep there for the night. Later on that night, after both men had been asleep for a while, they were awoken by a noise. They sat up and were stunned. They saw a woman in all white floating directly above Musaku. She took a deep breath and then exhaled on him, freezing and killing him instantly. After freezing his friend, the ghostly figure then floated over to Minakichi. She took a deep breath to do the exact same to him, but she stopped. She then told him this: "I was going to kill you, but I'm not, because you're young and beautiful. But if you tell anybody about what you saw or who I am, I'll come back and kill you." Minakichi was frozen with fear, but he promised the apparition that he wouldn't say anything to anyone about this incident or who she was. After that, she vanished. Several years later after the incident, Minakichi met a young woman named Yuki. She would be a wonderful wife, and they had several kids and were very happy together. But mysteriously, she did not age. Then one night, after they had already put the children to bed, Minakichi approached Yuki and then told her this: "Whenever I see you, I'm reminded of a mysterious incident that happened to me when I was young. I met a beautiful young lady that looked a lot like you. I don't know if it was a dream or if she was a Yuki-onna." After he had finished his story about the incident, Yuki then stood up and told him this: "The woman you met that day was me. I told you I would kill you if you told anybody what happened. However, I can't kill you because you've been good to me and we have children. Please take care of them." After her words were said, she then mysteriously melted and no one ever saw her again. Minakichi then lived the rest of his life being a great father to the children, but he always questioned who that mystery woman was that he fell in love with all those years ago. Like and comment for more stories.
Thank